we believe strongly that we have to tie issues to advocacy, right? And advocacy to voting. And when you do that, it's, it's, again, it's ground game. It's really establishing that relationship with the community. But it's more than that too, because part of the reason that Latinos don't turn out to vote is because they don't see people like them trying to run for office, or because their issues as voters aren't addressed. The assumption is that Latino voters care primarily about immigration. That isn't necessarily so. It's not that they don't care about immigration, it's just that immigration might be number 4 or 5 on the list after health, education, and the economy, right? Or do they have a job? Can they feed their kids? That work has to continue, but also there's a lack of infrastructure in a lot of states. And that infrastructure needs to be addressed. And the parties don't do a really great job at it, but organizations can. And I think that that's part of what we have to think about, but we also have to talk to donors to get them, to get us the resources so that we can help educate the community about, things like what their rights are with regards to access to ballots in their own language and that kind of thing. What we saw in all of these states was that of the 8.6 million Latinos who early voted, 2.4 million were actually first time or newly registered. I want to say 14.5 million were projected to vote in the general election, which meant we were the second largest voting bloc. And what we do know is that our turnout was decisive in states like Arizona, Colorado, Nevada, Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. States where, especially Arizona, was really important because we got started in Arizona to fight back against Joe Arpaio, the sheriff who basically targeted the Latino and immigrant community in a terrible way. And I think that, looking at it from an organizing perspective, it made all the difference in how we were received by the community as we helped them organize themselves. The truth of the matter is, democracy thrives when there's a really strong media and when there's freedom of the press. And that also means, though, that media has a big responsibility to ensure that that democracy flows. And when the level of disinformation is so extreme, especially in Spanish language media, for example, as maybe English language, and even then, so much disinformation came out from so many places in Florida, as an example. That's something that we fight on a regular basis. I think the other thing I fear is complacency.